Picture this. You've been pouring your energy into someone who keeps pulling away. You text, they disappear. You open up, they shut down. You take one step forward, they take three back. And you're sitting there, heart wide open, wondering what you're supposed to do with all of this love that has nowhere to land. Here's what nobody prepares you for on this journey. The most powerful move you can make right now isn't another conversation, another explanation, or another attempt to pull them closer. It's stepping back completely. It's going ghost. And not as a game, not as revenge, not as a tactic to make them miss you, but as a genuine, soul-level withdrawal of your energy for your own healing and your own growth. Going ghost on your twin flame runner is one of the most spiritually loaded decisions you will ever make on this path. Because this isn't about abandonment. It's about energetic sovereignty. When you stop chasing, when you pull your awareness back into yourself, something shifts in the invisible field that connects you both. The runner feels it. They always do. But more importantly, you begin to feel yourself again. You stop living in the story of what they're doing or not doing, and you start coming back to your own center. This is where real transformation begins. Going ghost isn't giving up on the connection. It's giving up on the exhausting version of the connection that's been keeping both of you locked in place. Think about it this way. Every time you reach out from a place of fear or longing, you send that exact frequency directly into your shared energy field. And the runner, who is already overwhelmed by the sheer intensity of what this connection demands, picks that up and retreats even further. The loop keeps going because both sides keep feeding it. Going ghost breaks the loop. And in that silence, something extraordinary starts to happen beneath the surface that most people never even get to witness because they don't give it long enough to unfold. Let's talk about exactly why this move matters and what it's doing on a level most people never consider. The first thing going ghost does is sever what you could call an energetic cord of neediness. Every connection has cords, threads of energy that flow between two people. But when one person is in constant pursuit mode, those cords become heavy and consuming. The chaser's energy leans forward, reaching and pulling, while the runner's energy creates distance to reestablish a sense of internal safety. This isn't a character flaw in the runner. It's a survival response to feeling overwhelmed by the depth of what this soul-level bond demands of them. When the chaser goes ghost, those heavy pursuit cords begin to dissolve naturally. What replaces them is something far more balanced, a neutral, open, energetic field between both people. The divine feminine and the divine masculine in this dynamic carry this cord-cutting work equally. One must withdraw their reaching energy, and the other must sit with the discomfort of sudden silence instead of filling it immediately with more distance. Both are being asked to stop using the chase and run pattern as a way to avoid their own deeper inner work. Going ghost is the moment the chaser reclaims their energy from the endless loop of waiting. That reclamation sends a clear message to the universe and to the runner. This person is no longer available to be anyone's emotional placeholder. And that message lands harder than any words ever could. The second reason this move carries so much power is that silence creates genuine spiritual pressure. Not the kind of pressure that breaks someone down, but the kind that forces real self-reflection. When you're always available, always reaching, always present in someone's space, you actually make it very easy for the runner to keep running. You become the reason they don't have to look inward, because the dynamic between you is filling all the available space. The moment you go quiet, that space empties out. And what rushes in to fill it is everything the runner has been successfully avoiding. Their fears, their unhealed wounds, their own unacknowledged longing for this connection. You stop being the distraction and become the mirror. The divine masculine in this dynamic, when left in silence, is forced to reckon with why they ran in the first place. Old wounds around vulnerability, emotional exposure, and worthiness surface because there's nothing left to hide behind. The divine feminine, in the act of going silent, begins to reclaim their own internal narrative. They stop rehearsing conversations that never happen and start having the real conversation, the one with themselves. Both sides, in the silence, begin the inner excavation this connection always required of them. The silence isn't emptiness. It's the most productive spiritual environment either of you can currently occupy. Third, and this is something most people completely overlook, going ghost is an act of energetic integrity. When you keep reaching out to someone who has clearly shown they need space, you're overriding their energetic boundary, even if your intentions are entirely pure. The action itself says, without words, that your need to connect outweighs their need for breathing room. That isn't love at its highest. That's attachment dressed up as devotion. True connection on this path honors the free will of the other soul, even when that free will is deeply painful to witness up close. Going ghost is how you demonstrate, in the most tangible way possible, that you respect the runner's process even when you don't understand it and even when it hurts. The chaser stops operating from the belief that love must be proven through relentless persistence. The runner receives the actual space they've been silently asking for, often without knowing how to ask for it directly or without having the language to explain why they need it. This is love functioning at its highest available frequency. Not love as possession, not love as performance, love as a conscious, deliberate act of release. That shift in how love is expressed changes everything about the dynamic. Fourth, going ghost forces both people to develop what can be called the inner lover, that sustaining, nourishing relationship you hold with yourself. On this journey, so much energy flows outward toward the twin that both people often completely neglect their own inner world without realizing how far the neglect has gone. The chaser stops doing the things that once brought them alive. The runner fills their time with distractions that prevent them from sitting with their own emotional landscape. When the chaser goes ghost, all of that externally directed energy comes rushing back inward. And suddenly there's access to parts of the self that have been starved of genuine attention for far too long. Creative energy returns. Mental clarity improves. Old passions reemerge from beneath the weight of the obsessive focus on the connection. The divine feminine who goes ghost often rediscovers a strength and self-sufficiency they had forgotten they ever possessed. The divine masculine who sits in the stillness of the runner's silence often encounters an emotional richness and depth they spent years carefully avoiding. Both come face to face with their own wholeness. And that encounter, that moment of meeting yourself again, is the entire spiritual point of the twin flame journey. Your twin isn't supposed to complete you. They're supposed to reflect back the parts of yourself you haven't yet had the courage to fully claim. Going ghost gives you the undistracted space to finally claim them. Fifth, this move recalibrates the energetic dynamic between you in a way that nothing else can replicate. Think of a set of scales. When one person constantly pushes their energy forward and the other constantly pulls away, those scales are wildly out of balance. That imbalance is actually what sustains the running, because the energy flowing toward the runner feels too consuming, too relentless. When the chaser withdraws, the scales begin to level. The runner no longer feels that constant energetic pressure, and without the pressure, the flight response has nothing left to react to. The entire trigger dissolves. This is where things begin to shift in ways that aren't visible on the surface, but are absolutely real beneath it. The runner's nervous system settles, their defenses lower, not because of anything said or done, but because the energetic environment genuinely changed. And the chaser, freed from the exhausting cycle of pursuit, begins to operate at a frequency rooted in self-love rather than yearning. That frequency is exponentially more magnetic than any message or gesture. You stop pulling from a place of lack and start radiating from a place of genuine internal fullness. And it is that fullness, not strategy, not timing tricks, that eventually calls your twin back toward you organically. Sixth, and this angle rarely gets the attention it deserves, going ghost is a form of surrendering the outcome to a higher intelligence that knows far more than either of you about how this is supposed to unfold. Every chaser carries a belief, somewhere deep down, that if they just try hard enough, find the right words, or stay consistent enough, they can shape this connection to fit their timeline. But the twin flame path does not respond to that kind of control. It operates according to a timing and a wisdom that lives entirely beyond what either person can engineer from their human perspective. When you go ghost, you're essentially placing the connection into the hands of something greater than your own will and saying, I trust what I cannot yet see. That act of surrender is spiritually enormous. It signals a readiness to stop micromanaging the path and to trust the process even when it's uncomfortable. The divine feminine practices this surrender by releasing the need to track every signal and read every action for hidden meaning. The divine masculine practices this surrender by releasing the illusion that emotional distance will permanently insulate them from the depth of what this love is asking of them. Both acts are surrender. Both are equally necessary, and both move the journey forward in ways that efforting never could. Seventh, and perhaps the most profound reason of all, going ghost creates the conditions for a genuinely new beginning. Every time contact happens from the old energy, the energy of desperation, fear, or hollow hope, it reinforces the old version of the dynamic. It reminds both people of who they were in the most painful and contracted moments of this journey. But when you go silent and commit to the inner work with real honesty, you begin becoming a different version of yourself, not a performance of growth, actual growth, a shifted baseline, a new center of gravity. And when contact eventually happens again, it meets someone new. Your energy has changed at a fundamental level. Your relationship with yourself has deepened. Your sense of stability no longer depends on whether they respond or pull away. That is a completely different dynamic, one that both people can actually build something lasting within. The runner who finally slows down and turns inward during the silence also returns changed. Not because the quiet punished them into reflection, but because the space gave them genuine room to grow without the intensity of the connection pressing in on every side. Two transformed people reconnecting is not the same painful story playing on repeat. It is a new chapter, and that new chapter only becomes possible because someone had the courage to go quiet when everything inside them was screaming to keep reaching. Going ghost isn't the end of the story. It is where the real story actually begins. It's the chapter where both the divine feminine and the divine masculine stop living in reaction to each other and start living in genuine alignment with themselves. It's where love matures from something frantic and grasping into something steady and self-sourced. You are not going quiet to punish them. You are not disappearing to make a point. You are withdrawing your energy because you finally understand that the most important relationship on this entire journey, before reunion, before resolution, before anything else, is the one you have with yourself. Hold your ground. Trust the silence. Let it work on both of you the way it was always meant to. The path forward has never been about chasing someone who runs. It has always been about becoming someone who no longer needs to chase. That is the shift. That is the work. And it starts the moment you choose yourself first.